Hello friends, I'm Beatriz, your host here on Beatriz Book Nook, and today let's talk a little bit about translations. I'm going to share with you some translations that are on my radar that I'm trying to look into and trying to maybe purchase, or I have already purchased because some of them I have already got into my shelves. But what do I mean translations? So as you probably know, I am Portuguese. I grew up reading books that were translated to Portuguese from English authors. For example, one of the books that I can very quickly remember without like too much, it's Harry Potter. I am reading, or I read that series when I was younger, the translated books, because I did not know English fully well to be able to read it in just one language or in the main language that it was created. Therefore, recently I have been thinking, why do not mention translations a lot more into my channel? Why not bring this type of content where I'm talking about translations, where I'm talking about reading in my own language or reading in English if the books were not written in English. So this is what I'm thinking. This is what I want to talk to you about today. I'm going to share with you a little list of books that are on my radar, that are from translated authors, either from English to Portuguese or from Asian language, for example Japanese or Korean, to English, because sometimes I'm not able to find them translated to Portuguese, so I read them in English, which is fine. I am still okay with it. So let's get into the video and let's talk about my first translation that is on my radar recently. So the first translation that I have, it's one that I'm very excited for. I have actually pre-ordered the book in Portuguese, so it has not yet fully come out. If I'm not wrong, it comes out on the 20th of February, which it's like, from when you are seeing this video, it's almost 2 weeks from now. So I'm very excited about it, and it is Quicksilver by I don't even know the author, honestly, but I'll put the cover in here. Why I'm very excited about this book? First, the edition that I pre-ordered in Portuguese has some of the most beautiful sprayed edges that I have seen. If you know, or if you don't have to know this. I am a little bit obsessed with the meaning of butterflies, and when I saw that these sprayed edges had butterflies, I had to get it. Not only that, this is a book that has been on my radar for quite some time now. Everyone is talking about it, or at least was, and I'm excited. I want to know if this is a book for me. I want to understand if I will like it or not. From the premise of the book, I am sure I will love it, but I am not so sure. So I just got this beautiful edition. I am sure that I will love the book, and I am very happy because I was able to get it in Portuguese, but I have to wait a little bit longer for it to get to me, which is something that happens, especially if I'm reading it as a translated work. This will happen because, well, I have to wait for the translators to finish their job on translating the work, and for that we have to wait a little bit longer to get the copies of the books into our hands. But it's fine, we are all fine, and nothing to worry about. I'm just happy that the translating industry, it's getting a lot more recognition, and it's one of my goals for this year. The next book that I'm quite excited to read, it's a book that I have read, a part of a series. I was not expecting to put this book onto this list, but it's here, and it is going to be Daydream by Hannah Grace. This is mainly due to the fact that it follows a character that I really liked into the Maple Hill series. It is a book that I have been excited for quite some time now to come out. The downside of this situation is because I'm not into my reading romance era. This might be a thumbs down. So I don't know how to feel about this one, but I'm excited. I really want to grab a copy of this book into my shelves or for my shelves, but I have not yet had the opportunity to do so. I have seen it quite sometimes on either when I go out to the bookshop or even at places that sells books around my city, but I have not yet fully grabbed the book to put it on my shelves, mainly because one of my auto-destruct let's say books, it's going to be romances, and I have to first get into the ones that I have onto my shelves before fully grabbing this one. but I'm excited. I really want to read Daydream by Hannah Grace, and I just haven't picked it up. So it has been on my radar since it came out. I have seen that people mix opinions, where some people enjoy it, some people don't. So I want to see how I feel about this series, because I really enjoyed Icebreaker, but I did not enjoy as much Wildfire. So I want to see where my opinion lands on this book. Maybe I'll try it in an ebook version before purchasing. I don't know, but this is another one that has been on my radar and that I'm quite excited to get, or at least to try and feel how I'm feeling about the genre and the book before getting it. So it has a lot of ponderation before I will actually get the book myself. The next one was a recommendation kind of thing. It has been on my radar. I have seen it around. I have seen it like being read by other people, and I have seen people talk about this book, but I had never like fully gotten myself into thinking, maybe this might be a good book for me. And the book that I'm talking here about is The Full Moon Coffee Shop. This is a book by Mei Mochizuki, and I am quite excited to read this book. I saw Gavin from Gavin Reads read this book in one of his most recent vlogs, and it caught my attention. It said that this would be a good book for people that love horoscopes and like the signs, the astrological signs, and that is something that I'm really into and that I really want to read. And he also commented a few, like, how do I explain and do I say this, a few quotes that made him think of this book, and I really want to see how and what this book brings, because this honestly is really much a book that I think that I will enjoy, especially because recently I discovered myself in a journey to enjoy more Asian type of readings, where we get to know and we get to see a little bit more of the Asian lifestyle of thinking and living into the books than the Eastern or Western type of living. I don't know what I'm saying at this point, but this is a book that I'm very excited to read, especially because it talks about full moons, it talks about the signs, and I am all here for the signs and the astrology and everything like that. And it has two little cats onto the cover, which is amazing. Yes, this is a book that has been on my radar for a little bit, but I have already gotten a copy. It arrived this week, so I'm excited to read it and definitely want to prioritize this one very shortly. And it's in Portuguese, so it is a translated work that it was translated from the, I'm thinking it's Japanese to Portuguese, which is not very common for me to find, but I'm just happy that I was able to find it and that I am finally able to read it, and that I will dwell my little paws on it, if you know what I mean. The next one, I do not have the second book, which is the one that has been on my radar, but I have the first one, and this is for the Delegate Dream Department Store series or duology, written by Mie Lee. The second one, it's the one that has been on my radar, which is the Return to the Delegate Dream Department Store. I love this story. It was so dreamy. I gave it 5 stars once more. It has a lot of those Asian lifestyles, input, and ways of living into the book, which I really enjoyed. The book also brings a new perspective into dreams and into what happens while we are dreaming, which I also really enjoyed. And I think it's an amazing and beautiful way of doing these type of like books and this type of fantasy kind of things, let's say like that. This is a Korean translation, so I have the English copy, which, and the original book was written in Korean. I currently know that the second book, if I'm not wrong, has already come out in its original language, but they have not yet fully finished the translation. But I also know that we are getting it very soon, so that is why I have been keeping my eyes out on to places where I can either pre-order it or get it, because I'm very excited to return to this world, to return to Penny, Delegate, and Weather, because all of them are characters that I miss, and especially this dream world. It's something that I really want to get back to and delve into a little bit more. The next one, I also only have the first book into the series, but you might know this series. A lot of people know it. I think it was one of the books that helped people and bring translations, especially Asian translations, into the Western side of the world, which is Before the Coffee Gets Cold by Toshikazu Kawaguchi. This is, everyone knows, we are following this little coffee shop, and it has a place in it that allows you to go either back in time or into the future, which is quite interesting. And it tells not only one story, but it tells all of the shenanigans that happened into this coffee shop. So it's almost like a collection of short stories, but they are all interconnected in itself. I really want to get back to this world. I really liked the aspect, and this type of books, they are some of the books that really help me like get over some of those really hard and really complex stories that I normally read. For example, I'm going to be starting reading Brandon Sanderson. So these type of books are very good palate cleansers for me to read in between those harder reads, which I need, because I cannot be reading hard book behind hard book on top of hard book on top of hard book, you know? So this is the perfect little palette cleansers that we need, and I'm excited because I really want to keep going and delving more into this book, and I want to know how the author kept going. I think it's almost 5 books. I know there's a green one, I also know there is a pink one, but I'm not sure of their titles, but they have been on my radar, and because I got the paperback version, I have to be on the radar for those to see and to know if they have already released them into, how can I explain, but into that version on that medium, let's say like that. So I'm excited. I really want to get a little bit more into Before the Coffee Gets Cold, so I hope to do at least 1 or 2 books still in during 2025, which I'm sure I will able to do because we are just at the beginning of the year. Okay, so now I have, while I was doing this research, I have a few books that I do have my eye on before knowing they were going to be translated to Portuguese, which is something that when I was looking through my Bookstar webpage, I was like, oh my god, these books are being translated to Portuguese, which I'm very excited about. So the first one is going to be Nettle and Bone by T. Kingfisher. This is a book, if I'm not wrong, it's horror. It has been recommended to me before, and I'm very excited that it's finally getting translated to Portuguese. We already have the pre-order possibility, so I'm sure they are just finishing up the last touches, not only in binding the books and all of that, but getting all of the copies ready. But I'm excited because Nettle and Bone is coming in Portuguese. I know it's a book that it's not very new, but I'm just excited because a lot of these books that I'm used to hear talking and I'm used to know people say they are good, they are interesting, they are coming into Portugal and they are getting accessible to people that don't know how to speak English. I do know how to speak English, but for me reading in Portuguese is like a no-brain activity, so it's a lot easier for me to read books in Portuguese than it is in English. So I'm just excited that Nettle and Bone is going to be translated into my main language. Not only Nettle and Bone, but also Out on a Limb is being translated to Portuguese, which is a book that I've heard so many people talk good things about. For example, Katie from I Would Rather Be Reading, if I'm not wrong, also Laura from the book Hermit, they have already also talked about this book rather well. So I'm excited because I might be able to get that book and maybe see if romance is still in it for me. The last one, well, I have 2 more. So one of them is going to be Immortal Dark. I'm going to as well put the cover in here because I'm not sure if I know who the author is, but when I saw that it was going to be translated, my mind just went, you know that emoji with the mind blown? My mind just went like that because I was not expecting this book to be translated. I know that it recently got the attention of a lot of people, but I was not expecting to see it being translated to Portuguese, especially so soon after it got attention and it got everyone's reading interesting. interest. The last one is a book that I have already, and let me grab it. This is also a book that I have because I am interested in once more the Asian mindset and the Asian lifestyle and ways of living, and we are going to be talking here about of the Korean store of second opportunities. This is a book that this is not the first time that I see it in the bookstores. I don't go out to bookstores a lot because for me it's a lot easier to go into my online bookstore and just purchase the books and get them shipped to me. But sometimes I also do miss the me going to the physical location and seeing what books they have in there, and this one caught my attention because it was hidden quite well onto the end of the shelf, and with all of books that were like chunkers, this one is quite a small one. And I'm excited because I really like Koreans lifestyle. I really like their way of thinking and their way of living, so I'm excited to see how we can look into it and see how it is portrayed into this book. So this is another book that is on my radar, but I have already gotten it. So technically it's not, but it still is because I have purchased it very recently. It just arrived this week with the Full Moon coffee shop. But I'm excited. I really want to delve into this book, and I might do soon. I don't know. I am in a mood read here, so when it gets picked up, it will get picked up. So yeah, let me put it down and we will do our outro. And this is all that I have for today's video, friends. I hope you enjoyed it. I think a lot of these books I did not very much well explain how they are on my radar, but they are on my radar because someone has recommended to me due to the fact that I have been looking into them for other genres besides fantasy. They are fantasy, or they are books that I have been looking and wanting to read for quite some time, but either they just came out recently, just like Daydream, or they are a book for a genre that I am a little bit on the I'm not sure how I feel, just like out on a limb. So I'm excited to read all of these books. I might keep my eyes open to see when they come available into my bookstores, but yeah, I think this is it. I think I don't have much more to say today. If you like this comment or this type of content, please don't forget to hit the like button and also comment down below what is a translation that you are excited to read and that you have your eyes out on. It might be from, well, if you are English based, it has to be from a language that you don't speak, but if you are not English based, let me know a translation that you are excited for, even if it is from an English based author. I'm just excited to talk to you about all of these books and to know your opinions on translated works. Just to keep an eye out, I might be making a video soon. I am still doing a lot of research into translations because this is a topic that I have my mind on and I really want to talk a lot more about them, so I have to see how I'm going to be handling this type of content, but you might expect to see a lot of translation related videos from me in the future. So yeah, until then, friend, until the next time that we see each other, I hope you have an amazing rest of your day, night or evening, wherever you are in the world, and I'll see you on my next video. So until then, bye friends!